Hello, I'm seeing folks joining in. Hi, Erica. Hi, Kathy, Allison. I'm going to shout out to people as they're joining in, but let's get this party started. I'm Shreyas Mecheri. I'm from the product marketing team here at Giraffe, and we are really excited to bring to you what the team has been working on over the past few months. Um, Before we get started, let's just do a few housekeeping things. Today's meeting is being recorded. You will get a recording from Zoom tomorrow by email. But while we are in the meeting, you can go ahead and ask questions. You will see that there is a Q&A icon at the bottom of your Zoom bar. That's where you'll drop in your questions, and we'll answer some questions live. For others, we'll wait till the end of the Zoom. You will also see that there might be polls as we are going through this webinar. We just want to know what's exciting you and get your feedback on things. So do go ahead and answer the polls when they come up. And then as next steps, a lot of what you'll see today has been released, but there's a lot that's in development. And we really want to hear from particularly our customers, what's resonating with you. Are there certain things that you would like us to modify or refine before we launch it in the product? And anything we show you which hasn't gone live yet, please understand that it's in development, and what you see in the final product may not match what you see in the webinar today. So with all of that covered, let me welcome some of the presenters you will have on the call today. So you will see the smiling faces on the screen. We have Rani Singh from our product team, Josh from our customer and partner success team, and Darian, who's joining us from our engineering team. So with this, you have a strong group of folks who are very experienced in Giraffe, really understand how people can make the most of Giraffe and have an eye to what's coming in the future. So let me just give you a quick run through of how we are going to organize the content today. First, we'll start with all of the developments we have launched recently in our dashboards area. This will include things we launched a couple of months ago, but just to remind you how you bring in your budget into Giraffe. We'll go into some visual setup things we've been working on to make those dashboards look prettier. And then we'll move on to the reporting section of Giraffe, where we'll see some newer features like a new AR/AP aging report and more. And then we'll end with what yet hasn't released in Giraffe, but will be coming up in the next few months. So with that, I am going to jump into the demo mode, and Josh is going to start presenting.
Awesome. Thanks, everybody, for joining. I'm very excited to speak with you here today. Everybody should be able to see a dashboard here in a second. I just want to preface, I'm very excited about some of the dashboard updates that we've made here specifically, because I can recall back to the first time that I took my entry-level finance course in college, and my professor at the time said, you know, we're going to learn concepts, we're going to learn theories, we're going to understand kind of what these figures are telling us. But what I really want you to take away from today, or from your course, is I want you to understand if you can craft visually appealing and actionable, insightful information, that you'll make a ton of money in your career, and you'll also have the ability to have a ton of impact among business owners. So especially as we've made improvements here to our dashboards, I'm very excited to see kind of my career learnings and my educational learnings kind of come to light. What I want to show you first and foremost is just kind of a general update to our color palettes. So specifically, as I go in and I edit a tile here, you'll see that this look and feel is much different than it was a few months ago. But what you'll see is we've expanded our color palette here from just our classic draft colors to also now include a whole few and other shades of about 10 additional colors here, right? Just giving you the ability to easily select different colors to visually tell the story that you're trying to represent. The next thing that I want to just generally show you here among our dashboards is our new builder. So I'm going to actually go over into our actions function and go and say, I'm going to add a new tile. And what I want to show here today is just the ability of how easy it is to add a tile. And you'll see generally that this look and feel comes over a little bit different than it used to a few months ago. So today I'm going to go ahead and just say revenue versus accounts receivable or AR. And I'm going to select our vertical bar chart intentionally for this. As you'll see that I've selected my chart type, I can now come in, I can determine my sources if I want to do a comparison, but I'm going to add a data series. And one thing that I always like to preface here with this new look and feel is this edit data series functionality is actually about to carry into our driver inputs as well. So I always encourage our partners and our direct users to get very comfortable with this look and feel. But what I'll do is I'll just come in and I'll pick my revenue, and then maybe again I want to pick another comparison to show a nice trend right next to it. So I'll come right over and I'll just pick my accounts receivable. You also see that there's a nice search bar up there too. Just makes it a little bit easier to get to the point. Now, one other thing I really like about the new look and feel of our dashboard editor, our tile builder, as we've recalled it, is the ability that you can see a very nice visual preview, but you also see an interactive preview. And I know a number of you will recall this formerly didn't behave this way. So I find this to be a very good improvement. But now with the ability to consolidate different information from disparate points of the income statements, the balance sheet, and even some operational information, I confidently believe that this is a great set of functionality to enable our partners and our users to leverage Draft and tell those visually eloquent stories. I'm going to go ahead and add that just to my dashboard. I'll just go resize it real quick because the next thing that I want to show is back into that. I'm going to go back and add another tile, and I'm going to stick here with our vertical bar chart here intentionally. And I'm just going to call it revenue, the gross margin dollar or gross margin percent. So holding true, I'm going to go ahead and add a data series. I'm going to come over and I'm just going to pick my revenue. And then on top of that, what I want to do is I want to bring in a different portion of data, but unlike the former one where we added a bar chart right next to it, I'm going to add an overlay line. And what that overlay line is going to do is it's going to actually open up a dual axis. And so, as many of you will know, that sometimes we want to bring in relational information that maybe doesn't scale properly right next to as bar charts. And so you'll see by doing this overlay line, now we've got the dual axis, so we can start to see as our revenue trends, how's our gross margin impacted? Or maybe we wouldn't want to do our gross margin percent as an overlay. Maybe we want to do something a little bit more operational, as you know, especially as we understand kind of the industry movement for our advisors from the financial insights cast into business insights cast. Maybe we'd want to bring in some operational information, specifically around like our customers. And so maybe we would want to bring in our ending customers to also identify how does that trend correlate to the revenue that we're receiving. There are a few other changes here down below. Again, the color palette is expanded from what it was a few months ago. But as we look at our data labels as well, you'll see that we've got a few additional controls here. So I could say, well, maybe for simplicity's sake or for organizational sake, I want to make these diagonal. Maybe I want to make them vertical, or maybe I want to position the label inside of the actual bar. So we've given a little bit more functionality here on the label setup as well. I'm going to go ahead and cancel off of that. And the next thing I want to roll over to is our reports. And on our reports, a few things that I want to highlight here to the team are one around our cover page. So formerly, a number of you will be very familiar with the fact that we used to not be able to put a logo on side of a cover page. So this is actually our text page. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and add our new cover page look and feel. I'll just call it cover page replacement. I'll just drag it up to the top. And what you'll see out of the box, there's some standard names on it, right? Just what's the company name, what's the title of the report template, and then when has it been prepared. But now through our new functionality, we've got the ability to not only upload the company logo onto the cover page, but if you're a partner of ours, you can also expose your partner logo as well. I'll go ahead and save that, and you'll see that this just right away carries over. And that was feedback that we'd received from a number of our partners and users as they wanted the ability to use the cover page very intentionally with a logo on it. So I'm very excited to see that we've carried that into production. The next thing that I want to show briefly is the ability for us to expose new functionality on our income statements. And what that functionality is the ability to easily, through our edit columns function, show account codes. Because what we heard from a number of our users is maybe for internal use, you wanted to have account codes so you kind of knew where the information was being derived from. If there needed to be adjustments to that underlying information, what account do you actually go back to adjust? But they also wanted the ability for maybe board financials or any covenants that they wanted the ability to strip that off. So you can see with just the toggle of a button, I can easily expose those account codes and then tell exactly where that information is coming from. The last thing that I want to just highlight here very quickly is a new function that applies to our custom table setup, specifically for our metrics where we're doing division calculations off of. Maybe you're doing a gross margin, a product level, or maybe you're doing, in this example, CAC. And as a number of you will become very, very aware of, or maybe are very already familiar of, is formerly at our custom table setup, you had a few options of what we call the period value. And that really determines not how the information is calculated, but how it's presented here on a financial statement. And what we've rolled out is a new period value called formula based, and that's used specifically for calculations where we're doing division. And when selecting this, what it's going to enable to be done is you can have, a report that you look at for the last 12 months and then say maybe throw a total on it or throw quarters on it or aggregate it differently than just monthly. And as you're aggregating those different time columns, it's actually going in and redoing the numerators and denominators. So instead of just taking, an average of these last few months or an ending balance, we now have what is our total CAC here in this representation using formula based as a total representation of the numerators and the denominators being refactored. I'm very excited about that. While it might seem small initially, those who have experienced having to set up multiple calculations to look at an array of different formulas, I think will have a real appreciation for this because it drastically can simplify your model as well. At this point, I'm going to pass it over to Ronnie, and I will stop my share.
Perfect. Thanks, Josh. So I wanted to talk through some other exciting report updates that we have. First is the AR/AP aging reports. So these are being rolled out across all of the accounts right now. So if it's not available in your account today, it will be soon. And this is only going to be available today for accounts connected to QuickBooks Online. But essentially with the nightly sync into QBO, it will be pulling in your aging data as well for AR and AP. So you'll be able to run some out of the box reports based on that data that we're pulling in. So I know this has been a big request from a lot of our clients and something that a few of you have been doing outside of Jirav. So we're hoping this will really streamline your month-end reporting process and make that just much more simple to bring into Jirav and have everything all in one place. Next, I wanted to talk about the ability to bring in an additional dimension from Sage Intacct. So historically, we've always had the ability to bring in the department dimension. We've recently expanded that, so you can now bring in the location dimension instead. So you have the option to bring in department or location. So this is just a quick snapshot of basically our P&L, our income statement by department. Obviously, since you're able to point to location, you can now sort of run a report similar to what you're seeing here. And this would basically work the same way if you're familiar with the QuickBooks Online integration where you can point to class or location. It'll work similarly to that. So as you know, we use that department feature sort of loosely in Giraffe. So that would be basically the field you can now bring in instead. And then we've also recently updated the retained earnings mappings. So this is a common request, especially around a lot of non-for-profit companies that our clients have been working with. So we've removed the requirement for a retained earnings account to be mapped in order to integrate with Giraffe. So you can now actually choose which equity account you want to map. So you can bring in net assets is typically what the non-for-profits will refer to as their retained earnings or that kind of equivalent calculation. So it just offers a lot more flexibility for you to bring in your non-for-profit clients. There's also some additional custom labeling for the chart of account section. So equity can be now renamed to net assets as well. So you're kind of seeing that proper language throughout Jirav, whether it's in the reporting or the planning section. All right, so those have been some of the recent reporting updates. I did want to walk through some other exciting changes we've done here. Let me switch over to Jirav. So as some of you may have noticed, when you go to your gear icon, your settings in the upper right, we've replaced actuals with integrations. So the terminology has changed here a little bit. The reason we've done that is you can still import your actuals as before, right? So your accounting, your workforce, your custom data. But if you scroll all the way to the bottom, you now also have the ability to bring in budget data. So both for the accounting or GL side, as well as that custom data. So you'll see there's the ability to bring that data in via an Excel upload. So there's basically a template behind the scenes for each of those that you can populate to bring that data in. Especially on the accounting side, this will be a great way to onboard new clients. So if they have an existing budget outside of Jirav, you no longer have to hard code those numbers in. You can upload it in so you can do really quick budget versus actuals reporting within Jirav before you get their model moved into the system. Similarly with the custom data, right, that's going to be where you can import in more of the operational data or data that lives outside of the accounting system or the trial balance. And so you also have the ability to upload that budget data as well. So if you have maybe budgeted opportunities or data that you want to bring in directly from another system, you can also upload that into Jirav really quickly using our template and have that data supplement the budgets and forecasts. And then finally, we've also updated our new account templates, as we sort of refer to it internally. Basically what this is, if you go to create a new account from your partner portal, you'll know you're not starting with a blank slate, but we've recently updated sort of what's available in that account when you go through that route. So I'll walk you through some of those dashboards and reports here now. There's essentially 3 dashboards that would come out of the box. There's this financial overview, which you'll see has a lot of great KPIs and metrics around revenue and cash runway, cash flow, has a quick snapshot into the operating expenses as well as some working capital amounts. So this data will actually be fully populated as soon as you create that new account and connect to your client's actuals. So there's no extra setup that would be involved on your end to kind of see this data. And similarly, there's a forecasted outlook dashboard, which will look basically identical. The difference being here, this is actually connected to an auto forecast plan, which will automatically be set up in that new account. So again, this would also be populated immediately as soon as the actuals are connected. It'll look at that historical data, the seasonality and the trends to sort of generate those forward-looking budgets for you. The final dashboard that'll be included out of the box is a headcount dashboard. So this one contingent, of course, on you uploading their staffing data, but kind of gives you a quick snapshot into sort of the headcount metrics available. And then we've also updated the monthly report package that comes out of the box with this new account. So you'll see a handful of reports as well as dashboards that kind of look at historical data, as well as some of that auto forecast data for the forecast periods, budget versus actuals, etc. So a lot of this layers in, some of the new dashboard functionality and reports that Josh mentioned, but it gives you a good starting point when you're bringing a new client on board with Jirav. And then as always, you can tweak these templates as well, right? So if you want to create your own reference account based off of these, you can always do that and then have a replicable reference account that you can use anytime you're onboarding new clients. All right, I will switch back over to the slides for a poll that we have here.
So we just walked through a bunch of changes, which you see here, changes to our dashboard tiles, the ability to add that overlay with multiple axes on a dashboard tile, the cover logos, bringing in the GL account numbers on reports. I saw a lot of excited reactions coming into the AR and AP aging reports. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to launch a poll, which you'll see pop up on your screen. And we just want to hear from you. What are you most excited to see and start using in Jirav? I'll leave that up for a while and just quickly address some questions that came in. Yes, there will be a recording that goes out, and we'll also have a link to some of the slides and the handouts from the session in that email that you'll get from Zoom tomorrow. And then there was a question around, if you look in the Q&A, there was a question around someone had problems getting the icon size on the cover page to fit. So we are adding some more additional sizing options for wider logos to show up in your cover pages. So that's something we are working on, and I'm going to let the poll sit and quickly see if there's any other Q&A that's come in, or if anyone else has that. Okay. All right, so I'm starting to see the questions slow down and responses slow down. So I am going to end the poll and share the results. So looks like the AR/AP aging reports is the winner, with 40% of respondents excited to start using that. Right. So we can now move on to the next section, Ronnie.
All right, great. Now that we've talked about what we've released recently, we're going to switch gears and talk about what's coming up next. So here are a few of the items that we're working on for the rest of the year. First is kind of a departmental hierarchy. So the ability to create kind of parent-child relationships within the department structure for planning and reporting purposes. For those of you that are familiar, we've done a little bit of that around staffing, but this is going to be expanded to all of the planning sections within Jirav. So you can really set up that departmental structure to fit how your clients are thinking about their businesses and wanting to plan. This will also sort of help set us up for future updates, so further on in the roadmap, but basically the ability to also, bifurcate the balance sheet and cash flow by departments in the future. And again, anytime we use the term department here, that's being used loosely. So again, that could be class location from QuickBooks, could be location department from Intacct. So it'll really sort of depend on which accounting system your client is using. Next, we're also doing a percentage of revenue column. It'll actually be a little bit more than that. You'll also be able to reference like percentage of net income and other KPIs and metrics there. But essentially, you'll have the ability to add that column into your income statement and executive summary reports for more of like a common sized view of that. So I know that's been a common request from our partners, and we're really excited for that one. Next, I'll hand it over to Darian to talk about the industry benchmarking with AI.
Okay, sounds great. Yeah, so I'm super excited to introduce this industry benchmarking with AI. A common challenge we've heard from a lot of you guys is that clients want more than just analysis of their own performance. They really want to understand how they compare to others in their industry and how broader economic trends might be affecting their businesses. But writing up such reports is, of course, time consuming, and that's where our industry benchmarking with AI comes in. So to do this, we fetch publicly available government data like 10K reports of public companies operating in the same niche as your client, industry trends from the economic census, local and national growth indicators, as well as search trends for the company name and keywords associated with it to provide a complete view of how the client's business is progressing. Then we use AI to generate short, tailored write-ups, which you can relay to your clients. And because all the statistics in these reports are calculated manually from these verified external data sources, and we cross-check the reports to ensure that the figures mentioned match the source calculations, the risk of AI hallucinations is very low. And the goal is to help you deliver more value to your clients while reducing the workload on your end. So I think we can go into the demo now if you want to.
Okay, so here I'm specifying the business name and NICS code of the industry. In this case, I'm using the NICS code for retail bakeries. Next, I'll add the state, which helps pull in relevant local economic data. Then I'll have the option to add keywords. The NICS code technically covers all kinds of bakeries, but since this business specializes in donuts, I'm going to add donut shop here. That'll help make the results more relevant. Then I can add in any of the draft data I want to include in my analysis. I'm going to add in executive summary, income statement by department, and my budget versus actuals. Before generating the report, you can choose how you want it to be formatted. There are 2 preset templates available, or you can upload a past report if you want the format to match something you've already written. That way it'll stay consistent with your brand voice. Next, you'll see a list of relevant companies to help you understand how the industry is performing overall. For example, you might choose Krispy Kreme since it's also a donut shop. You can also add your own insider analysis and select which national and local economic indicators to include. Finally, you'll get a clean report that compares the business to broader industry trends, peer companies, and the economic indicators you selected, and even search trends from Google Analytics related to the company and its industry. All the data used is summarized in the tables at the bottom of the report, so you can easily double-check or reference anything.
Yeah, so that's essentially the demo of how that new feature would look. I think we can probably move on.
Okay, so I'm going to start sharing my screen now so that we can look at some of the other features that are coming down the line. So the first one I'm going to talk about here seems small, but is super powerful. We are calling it the smart labels in reports. What this is with the ability, we are going to give you the ability to drop in a dynamic placeholder just by using a hashtag in any text editor in your reports. So for example, if you want to have a placeholder for a company name, you can see the list of options we have here. You put it once in your report and it's always there instead of you having to type it every time. Jirav will automatically swap out that hashtag and whatever is in that hashtag with the actual current data based on where the report is being run. This can also be exported to your usual PDF and sheet exports. And this can be used in dashboard text styles or in text editors in your reports. The common use case we use here is I'm running an income statement for all departments, or I'm running an income statement just for a specific department, but it's hard for people who are getting the report to understand who that income statement is for. So by adding things like these small labels, which show exactly what the context is, you're going to make your reports richer without having to manually type out specific details. I think it's easier to see what that looks like. So I'm going to jump into a demo and talk you through what's going on. So here you see I'm in the commentary section of my quarterly board report. And I'm in the commentary, I want to go ahead and add the name of the report. I'm just going to add from the hashtag the name of the report, and then also with the timestamp when the report was run. Here, I'm going to add in the name of the company by typing hashtag and then selecting company name long. And then I'm also going to do a hashtag and type in the prior period, which is the prior quarter. And instead of me typing the quarter, that was automatically fetched as the fourth quarter. So this is going to save you a lot of time. Let's look at that example with the income statement that I was mentioning before. So here's an income statement for all departments. I'm going to go, you can see here in the dropdown that it's for all departments. Here, I'm going to add using the hashtag and report that this is for all departments and save the changes. Yeah, it's for all departments. However, here's the magic. When I go into the column editor and I reflect this to be only for sales, instead of me having to go back and type in this is only for sales, the change has automatically been made thanks to that smart label. So this is, again, going to save you a lot of time. You place it there once, and it gets automatically fetched at the time of the report generation. So that should be coming up in the next few weeks in Jirav. Another exciting feature that we are looking forward to is going to be our Excel add-in with a Jirav data connector. This is going to be very powerful reporting in Excel built off your Jirav models. So this is going to be this is separate to your Jirav app. It would be a direct connection into your Jirav account or a Jirav account of a client with a single sign-on. So a very secure way to connect your Jirav data with this Excel add-in. And it will allow you to start bringing in that Jirav data into Excel. I would say that this is more for those advanced Excel users who want to perhaps build very customized reports, like you want to build a butterfly report, which has rows going down the middle and 2 columns on the side, or you want to have something like very customized data in Jirav, in Excel, which you're not currently building in Jirav. There will be a couple of modes to do this. For example, I have here a refreshable grid and formula modes. So those will let you pick the specific metadata you want to build in the grid in Excel. And we'll also have a formula mode, which will let you convert that grid into more specific cell-based formulas. So again, if you are an advanced user in Excel, this will let you use that power of Excel and marry it with the power of Jirav plans. I do have a short demo here, which will show you how that might look in practice. So here this is going to be a cloud-based connector, not installing anything on your desktop. I am pulling in Jirav data into Excel, and then we are inserting a column here where we are going to use a formula to add a new calculation. So you can see here that's being done. And then pretty quickly, you have a new column created with additional data here. So yeah, I am also able to hide rows or make other changes that if I so choose to. So pretty cool. This is, again, going to be an add-in for PC or Mac, and it's coming soon. There will be an additional option to also connect to QuickBooks or Xero through this connector, but that's coming soon. Another coming soon that I'm excited to talk about for our accounting partners is our update to our partner portal. So, Partner Portal is your central hub for business insights advisory. Today, it is a way for you to go in and manage the different clients you have under your account. But we really want this to be that one place where you're able to go in and see which of your clients are performing well on Jirav, who is using Jirav, what are those opportunities for you to upgrade your clients and bring them, say, from just planning to more advanced reporting. We want this to be your central hub for that business insights advisory. With that, I'm excited to show you these concepts and screens that we have been building. You can see here that you might be able to see who are your clients who have logged in recently. You will also have a very clean way to see all your clients along with their subscription and the GLs they are connected to. And if there's anything that needs your attention, you will be able to address it quickly. The benefit of that is by seeing these usage patterns, seeing the usage of the GL, you can also make sure that you're aligning the right team member from your team to the right client, right? So if you're specializing in charter schools and you understand that you're starting to see a bunch of charter school accounts, you're able to make sure you're bringing in the right staff member to service those accounts as well. So it just gives you a lot more visibility into your clients, and it's a more easy to use interface. That's our vision. Along with that, what I mentioned with staffing, as a firm, you want to be efficient. You want to be making sure your staff is getting the best use out of Jirav. So we are also planning to give you improved user management to make sure you're able to manage all of those users of Jirav in a central place and make sure everyone is getting the right access they need to be very efficient in Jirav. So with this, we are expecting, again, for the partner portal to be that central place for you to manage your clients, manage your users, and really start being more efficient with your business insights advisory. Right. So those were all the things that we have been working on or are coming shortly. It's time for our next poll. So we want to hear from you, from all you heard right now. What are you most excited to see? So let me go ahead and launch this next poll. Okay, so curious to see, what are you most excited about? Departmental hierarchy and the percentage of revenue column, which Rani showed. The industry benchmarking with AI, which Darren went through, the smart text labels, which allow you to just drop in something once and have it refresh every time, which I demoed, the Excel add-in, or the changes to partner portal, right? I'm seeing answers come in. So while that's happening, I'm just going to quickly scan for Q&A. And other folks on the call, feel free to jump in.
Yeah, I can jump in. I saw there's a question on being able to bring tiles based on the AR/AP aging report. So that's not something that's going to be available yet with this initial release, but it will be something that we're reviewing. So great feedback there.
Okay, I'm seeing the answers start to slow down, so I'm going to share results. So the winner for future features is the industry benchmarking with AI. So that's great to see. And I'm going to stop sharing on that. I think there have been some questions coming in around that as well. So there was a question around, is the AI benchmarking only going to be available on CFO Enterprise? We haven't exactly decided what the pricing structure or who we are going to make it available to yet. So that's something that we should be thinking on and releasing soon. Let's see. So I'm going to actually move on to our Q&A section that covers everything we had to show you today, but please go ahead and start dropping in the questions you have for us so we can answer them live. I'm going to stop our share. And while I'm doing that, yeah, you will receive the recording of the webinar tomorrow along with the slide handout, and my email address will be there. If there's any additional questions that come up or things you think of, like, just let me know and I'll make sure they get to the right person to give you the answer. Right. So we have a question here around, will industry benchmarking only include the US or will it include Canada?
I think I can jump in and answer that. Right now, a lot of the data that we're pulling in comes from like publicly available US data. We haven't yet expanded it to databases in other countries, but that is something that we could potentially explore in the future.
Ronnie, there's a question here. Where will we see when the aging summaries are available in our account? So we have started rolling them out to some accounts, and we are you'll see them coming up over the next 1 or 2 weeks. All accounts should have them shortly. But Rani, do you want to address that question?
Yeah, I think you summarized that well. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's being rolled out in waves, so it should be available in the next week or 2 for everyone. That's to QBO.
Yeah, and you will have a notification that pops up when you log in, which essentially shows you the latest released features, and that's where you'll see that. Let's see. Another question here. We have a will we be able to export the graphs in Excel reports? Currently, I'm not able to and have to recreate a graph. I wasn't sure when this question came in. Was it before or after the Excel add-in discussion? But Josh, this might be related to what you were demonstrating. Graphs should be coming in. I'm going to ask, I'm going to message you and ask you to contact us directly because I am interested in understanding what's happening there. Right. So there's a question here on what is the timing of financial consolidation? And for that, we are working on the underpinnings to support the multi-entity reporting, and consolidation will follow that. As we can never give you a specific exact timeline, but it will likely be early 2026, like Q1 2026 for that. There's a question here around, are there plans for an integration with Rippling payroll? That is something we have heard from a lot of our specifically accounting firms. So I'm going to ask you, John, to surface that to your partner success manager if you haven't already, because the decision around integrations is made typically on how much demand we have for them. Right. Any potential integrations with CRMs to capture marketing data? So we are not actively looking at any, and we have Bill on the call. He's our SVP of product and engineering. So I will say that we are not actively looking at potential integrations with CRMs right now to bring in that marketing data, but we have a lot of users who are bringing that in with custom imports. So would be, that's something that our success team should be able to help you to bring that, any information you want to bring in. Me as marketing, I do want to see website views and other data that's coming in from the CRM. Right, done. Any, please drop in more questions. Fine.
Looks like Ken has one about an embedded AI agent inside of Giraffe.
All right, I see that. Will there be an AI agent embedded to query different information within Jirav itself, like a Copilot or ChatGPT. And I would say we are looking at how exactly the AI shows up, particularly what Darian showed earlier, how exactly it shows up in context in the product. And there was a question earlier about being able to export the overview graph to Excel, that it doesn't export today, only the numbers show up. So we are working on making an update so that to get into the weeds, the way that chart is being built is slightly different, but we will be making a change so that it will export out. So we are actively working on that. Okay. You're welcome. So this one, Josh or Rani, maybe you can jump in for this. We have a client with a forecast by month. We use this for monthly and annual budget to actual reports. Is there a way to update the forecast quickly the next month without excluding the prior month's projections?
Yeah, so that should be possible in the system, if I'm understanding your question correctly. But yeah, we'd be happy to jump on a call and maybe walk through it. If you want to schedule time with your PSM, or there's the office hours, you can always join to kind of get more detail on that.
Yep. Right. I think we have answered most of the questions we have here. There's a few that were specific that we'll follow up in person, because they were very specific to certain accounts or features. But in general, I think we've answered most of the questions. There was a question around the AI trend analysis and when that will be released. We don't have an exact date for that yet, but we will be bringing it out to customers to test in advance of releasing it out. So if you have feedback for us, what you would like to see, where you would like it to show up, please reach out to your partner success managers to make sure we are incorporating that feedback. It's definitely one of the features where we do want to make sure we are pulling in one, relevant information, and two, surfacing it where you want it to be seen. Okay. Yeah, so thank you, everyone. I think with that, we don't have any more questions rolling in. Thank you for your time. We will be sending out a recording and the handouts, and we hope you have a great rest of your day. And thank you for being Jirav partners.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.